Hello, beautiful souls. How are you? So great to see you. Okay, so let me go ahead and share this live so that you can let people know. All right, so we're gonna do deep meditation, and after the meditation, I'm gonna get into Q&A. So I'm gonna go ahead and share this. Please go ahead and join the live if you want to join. It is such an honor to be here with you guys as always. So wonderful to see you. Hi, Brian. Hi, B Scribe. Hi, Christine. Love you. Everything is wonderful. James, welcome. Lonika Yoli, welcome. Smart Money Guy. Charles, hi. Anonymous, hello. Love you guys so much. And thank you again for your support and your questions. It's so wonderful to have them and to answer them. And it's really exciting to see the work that you guys are doing come through your questions, because I know that for you to have those questions, it means that you really are going into some deep parts of yourself and that you're doing the work, and that is so exciting. That brings me so much joy. That brings me immense amount of bliss, because the more that we work on these parts of ourselves, the less we are embodying suffering, and the more we are coming into the true form of humanity, which is pure creation in a state of free will. And that is why I'm here. So it is such a gift to be able to see that. Okay, so today I'm going to jump into the meditation. I want to do some deep healing work with you guys. And um, let me see, should I start the questions first, or let me just take a look and see how we should do this. Yeah, I had a really important question that I want to answer. So let's go into the meditation first, and then I'm going to jump into the Q&A. Okay, so go ahead and get nice and grounded, guys. Allow yourself to come into a state of complete relaxation and calm. Go ahead and ground yourself down to the center of the earth. Get really nice and comfortable. Go ahead and feel the rotation of the earth through your body as you are inhaling and exhaling. Fill your home with the color gold as you surround your space with gold frequency. Go ahead and visualize a bubble around your body. This bubble represents your multidimensional body. You're just going to tune in to see if you have any openings, and you're going to seal any of those openings with your intention, and your imagination is a tool to help you. So go ahead and visualize closing your sphere. Go ahead and deepen your connection with yourself and your body. Come fully into the present moment. Bring all your five senses into your body. Go ahead and connect with your five senses here in your physical body. We're going to start by working with the root chakra at the base of the spine. We're going to shrink that chakra down to the size of a dime. Sacral, go ahead and go down to your sacral, shrinking the sacral down to the size of a dime. Go up into your solar plexus, shrink your solar plexus down to the size of a dime. Sit up straight, breathing deeply down. Breathe deeply, bringing up your life force from the perineum up into the head. Go ahead and expand your heart chakra, opening the center of coherence. Expand your throat. Expand your third eye. Coming into reading state. Go up into your crown. You're going to activate your crown. You're going to fill it with your creative color in every area of your life, your career, relationships, family, abundance, money, creativity, sexual energy, harmony, peace, health, vitality, and your purpose, your spiritual work and your purpose. Expand your sphere of your crown chakra all around you. And you're going to begin to pull from the center of the earth a powerful wave of green life force that comes rushing up into the body, creating a vortex of energy at your center core. From source, go ahead and pull down a powerful wave of gold. Cosmic energy comes down through the crown of your head, combining with the green earth energy. Breathing. And take 10% of that, send it back down to the center of the earth. Take 80% of that, send it back up your spine from the crown of your head, coating the outside of your sphere. Go ahead and call back your life force from people, places, and things that are no longer aligned with you, or wherever your energy is leaking out of your body. Bring it back into your body. Bring your attention to your body here and now. Take that final 10% and bring it into the body, into the pores, the flesh, the muscles, the bones, down to the cellular level, transforming any darkness into light. Begin to observe yourself over the past 24 hours as you begin to notice the emotions that most came up for you in the past 24 hours. Allow the emotions to come up naturally, organically, and tune into the body and how the body responds to the emotions. Some of you, the body will tell you the emotion before your mind, like as in a contraction or a sensation or a feeling of heaviness in your body. Just take your attention there to that part of the body that's holding that information for you, and allow yourself to describe that sensation as an emotion, or simply let the emotion reveal to you, or the sensation reveal to you the emotions that are there. The more disconnected you are from your physical body, the less it'll be harder for you to describe the emotions. So this is a good invitation for you to connect with your body more, to be more grounded, to be more in the present moment. It's also a good exercise to notice how many times today you forgot yourself. How many times did you forget yourself today? Go ahead and be present with the strongest emotion that comes up for you. And in your mind, name out the emotions that come up. As you are fully present, allow yourself to feel the emotion in your body. Notice what the emotion does. Notice muscles that contract. Notice any sensations in your body that are changing. And let that emotion do what it needs to do in your body. And you will be receiving, as it reveals to you, emotions that are within this emotion. They might be very subtle hints or very vague. Pay attention and listen with your whole body. Listen with your senses. Observe the emotion with all your senses. And as you capture what that emotion is, the strongest of those emotions, you're going to be absolutely present. Some of you might see it as a color. Just identify that color. Identify that energy that is in your body. These emotions are energy. Go ahead and sit with the strongest of these emotions. Go ahead and select the strongest of those emotions. Breathing. As you observe the strongest of those emotions, allow yourself to be present with it. Breathing deeply. As you allow yourself to observe this emotion in your body, just come into as much neutrality without judging what comes up. Allow your body to reveal to you what you are holding, what you are storing, what you are resisting, what you are suppressing, what you are avoiding. That is what we are observing in the body. As you allow those emotions to reveal to you information about you, about the thoughts that you think about yourself, the programs that you are repeating about yourself or your life, the stories that you're telling yourself and about others in your life. Notice the effect of that on your body. Notice the effect of those emotions and how much you feel them throughout the week without even realizing how often you're repeating these emotions in your body. And just gently observe the impact of these emotions on your daily expression. The things that you're doing in your life, the way that you see the world, the way that you see yourself. Just notice if there's a larger impact or less of an impact, and how that affects your relationships, how that affects yourself. Breathing into the base of the spine. Every time you acknowledge an emotion, there's a release in your muscle system, in your nervous system. Every time you acknowledge an emotion, information is released from that contraction of the muscles and the nervous system. So come into such a state of observation that you're able to capture that. As you acknowledge the strongest emotion, go ahead and take yourself back to the very first time in your life that you've experienced this emotion. Observe yourself in this memory that comes up and focus on yourself. Notice the emotions that come up for you. As you observe this memory, observe the emotions that come up. Notice what your needs are in that moment. And notice who is not meeting them that you expect to meet them. Acknowledge your expectations. Acknowledge your desires and your needs in that moment. through this experience. Go into your body. Notice your body, how you're holding the memory of this emotion in your body. Narrow your focus on the attention of the body and name out the emotions that are in the body. Try to distill your emotions down to the root emotion, not the mask emotion that you might be wearing, but the actual subconscious emotion that's at the root of these emotions. What drives you to feel or express externally this emotional expression? What is the true need at the root of this? Observe what it is you need from the person that you're expecting or from those around you that you have some subconscious expectation from that's not being met. And I want you to observe these characters. They might be colleagues, partners, siblings, parents, families, whoever they might be. Just observe them and observe what is driving their actions. What is the core root of what drives their intentions and their actions in their day? Observe that for a moment. Is it survival or is it love? Is it fear or is it love? Take a moment to observe that without responding immediately. Take a moment to observe carefully what you sense and what you pick up. Notice what you recognize as love and notice what you recognize as fear. How are you similar? How are you repeating the same pattern in your life as them? Perhaps in that moment or perhaps today. Do you feel supported? Do you feel loved? Are you able to hold space? Are the needs that you needed then being met now by you, by yourself? Or have we not learned how to meet those needs yet? Ask yourself, what do you need in order to embody and fulfill this need in yourself? If you could have anything that you needed, if you could ask for anything, what would you ask from yourself to provide yourself in that moment that you need the most? Feel into that need, feel into the solution that you discover with your mind, with your body. Try to get down to the very root of the problem, of what is missing. Observe in you down to the core need, the core values, the things that are truly, truly at the core, running the programs that run yourself in these emotions. What do you truly need from yourself? As you begin to identify what is needed, go ahead and embody that state of what's needed in this moment. So let's say you reveal that what you need is to no longer fear the unknown. Allow yourself to embody the fear of the unknown so that you are familiar with it. And these emotions that you feel are the secret code to get to the alchemization. In this example, the fear of the unknown can cause an attachment. It can cause fear of suffering, fear of loss of control. So you're going to take each of these and you're going to see exactly the opposite. What is the opposite of the fear of loss of control? What emotion is that? So the opposite of control can be surrender, for example. Go ahead and embody that emotion in your body. Embody surrender. If you're not familiar with what surrender is, take yourself to the closest emotion to surrender that you can access and begin to fill your body with that emotion in the present moment. As you are present with this emotion in your body, you're beginning to create a new neural pathway, or you reinforce a weak one. As you sit with this emotion in your body, I want you to name out the emotions that arise as you sit fully and observe this emotion in your body. Take note of the changes in your breathing and the changes of your muscle contractions in your nervous system to allow you to better understand what is changing in your body. And just continue to repeat this process with every emotion that comes up as you go deeper and deeper into the reprogramming of the alchemization of this root core belief system. As you deepen your acquaintance with this new way of being, new way of seeing, new understanding, you're expanding your library of emotions. You are reprogramming your nervous system and you are activating your DNA, because each one of these emotions that you are not very familiar with, you are accessing an entire library of memory and genetic history, this holographic emotional history that is within your body. If you find yourself going in a loop, it's because you don't know, you're not familiar with these emotions. So you're going to ask yourself, what do you need in order to embody that emotion? And you're going to feel that emotion fully in your body. If you don't know the emotion, feel it. That's how you learn it. That's how you get to know it in your body. There's so much information, psychological, bioelectrical, biochemical information that you process by just sitting with each emotion. So you're reprogramming your body. As you identify these more expansive emotions, allow yourself to be present with that emotion. Let's say in this example, you discover that coming into your pure authenticity is the alchemizing emotion. As you sit with authenticity, notice how it feels. What emotions arise when you are purely with authenticity? As you name out those emotions, sit with it. Each one of them, get familiar with each one of these layers of new understanding. Just observe them in your body without judgment. This is the process of reintegration. So every time that you accept a part of yourself and deepen your emotional awareness, you are integrating parts of yourself. So allow yourself to deeply come into this state, and you can identify this core emotion as you begin to see all the fractals of yourself in your life that have repeated this emotional state over and over again. I want you to infuse and inform each one of these fractals with this emotional state. Just observe how each one of those transforms and changes as you allow yourself to embody that. Each fractal of yourself is a memory point that you are activating. The activation of the memory of these points expands your field, expands your auric bodies, because all of these memories are stored in different layers of your body. So as you recover the memory of them, as you alchemize their emotional state in the memory system, you are changing your frequency. You're also activating DNA. So you might recover more memories, might emerge from here You don't need to get overwhelmed, just observe them. Acknowledge what is being shown to you here in terms of your emotional patterns and their effect on your life, your experiences, your choices. Go ahead and see all your fractals merging into one. As you begin to see these fractals merge into one, go ahead and inhale deeply, taking it back into your body. You're going to focus on the root chakra. Go ahead and open that root chakra back into a balanced state. Your sacral, your solar, your heart, your throat, your third eye. As you begin to expand your heart, you can shift your heart a little bit, closing it, throat, third eye. Allow yourself to go up into the crown. And just notice your color here as you expand your field in your seventh and your eighth chakra all around you. Allow yourself to see all of your ancestors that are repeating this program, the same program of contraction, of fear, whatever it is that you're repeating down your ancestral lineage. You're going to see a contract. This contract represents the repeated patterns over and over again. You know what your patterns are that you just revealed. Shine your crown light on top of them and dissolve them. As you allow yourself to go up into the 9th, the 10th, the 11th, the 12th, the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. Go ahead and see white light of source, bring it down into your body, down through the perineum into the center of the earth. Go ahead and anchor yourself into the present moment. And go ahead and open your eyes. And as you open your eyes, go ahead and take a look around. You're going to continue to see your grounding cord, continue to see your field. Breathing deeply. Excellent. You guys did amazing. All right. So I have a couple questions. I'm going to jump into them really quickly. So we did an integration of some of our fractals today. And I want to talk a little bit about fractalization of the soul. What happens when our soul becomes fractalized, when we experience trauma? So let me just open this up, and I'm going to try to explain this the best that I can. So today, when you were looking at the fractals of yourself from all these memories, those are fractals of yourself that have split in these traumatic experiences. Every time that you had a traumatic experience, essentially there is a disassociation. That disassociation, it's a psychological state of disassociation, but we are a network of information. So many parts of us are affected by this. It's not just our psychological aspect or the memory, which wants to kind of suppress those memories. Actually, the emotional body, which is connected to your nervous system and the muscle system, is also going through a disassociation process. The emotions are suppressed and stored within the field, and that causes a really, difficult time energetically in the body. So what happens is that we exist in many planes simultaneously. When the physical body is experiencing a trauma, usually what happens is that the vibrational frequency of the actual physical body is the actual body itself is vibrating at one frequency, and externally we're experiencing another frequency. Okay, so information from outside of us is essentially causing us to feel a certain way, and we pick up those vibrational frequencies of this experience. It could be something that's happening in our family outside of us. It can be an extremely traumatic event. One of the strongest examples is, of course, with sexual abuse. And the child becomes extremely confused, right? Because they don't know the meaning of love. They don't know the meaning of affection. Whatever they have felt is from their parents. And when there is a breach of that, there is a profound confusion between what is affection, what is love, what is, and how should I feel in response to this affection and to this love. So that, an example, the vibrational frequency would be created by the intention of what is occurring externally, and it doesn't match what this child is feeling. So essentially, the child innately has an intelligence and an intuitive aspect, right? Their empathic reasoning that begins to emerge as they're going through this experience. And there's such a mismatch that what happens is that psychologically we begin to fractalize, which means that we compartmentalize the part of ourselves that feels those emotions that don't match the external event. And essentially, because we are energetic beings, the vibrational frequency of this emotion, I put red energy here being a survival energy, right? So let's say that it's mixed with kind of a sexual abuse or some kind of sexual abuse that's occurring at the moment. We have orange energy, which is the sacral sexual energy. So the child begins to pick those energies up through the root and the sacral chakra. Okay. And the root and the sacral chakra inside of the physical body, essentially, they become enlarged because they are processing massive amounts of information. Okay. So this is affecting the nervous system and the muscle system of the child. And so what happens is that a split begins to happen. The density of these energies are so powerful that they are coming out of balance now. Okay, so there's a disconnect. We don't know what safety is. We don't understand sexual energy. So these two chakras begin to work out of balance. They overwork. Okay, they begin to overwork. And what happens when the chakras begin to overwork? It affects the entire system. Your soul, your infinite potential that is in your physical body. Okay, remember, infinite potential, essentially it's this source that comes into the body, it's oscillating at infinite potential, which is incredible amounts of creative life force. This is your vital life force. So what happens when this energy tries to enter into the body once again and reconnect with the child and their pure state of authenticity, it becomes blocked because of these enlarged chakra systems that are overrunning psychologically, biochemically, bioelectrically. The body is being driven with a very specific vibrational frequency. So what happens in this case when we talk about soul fragmentation, especially through the sexual body, because the sexual energy is such a deep and it is the root, the fountain of life for the human. It is essentially the primordial life force of the human. It is deeply connected. It has the largest amount of soul particles, you can say, than any other part of your body. Okay, and it's the sexual organ is connected to every single chakra, because we have creative life force in every single chakra, counter creative and creative energy. So the fractalization that occurs is that essentially what happens is that the soul is less embodied. So the essence of the human becomes fractalized because it is not matching the physical vessel. And to make it simple, the spirit or the spiritual aspect, the non-physical essence of the human, doesn't want to enter into the body because the body becomes very dense, very heavy. Okay, so what happens essentially that essentially happens is, hold on a second, that the human blocks their ability to tune in to these parts of themselves. Okay, and over time, because so many things can happen. Okay, this is just one example. The same thing can happen, for example, if the child is telling the truth and the entire family tells them the child is lying about something, it can cause the same kind of disassociation in the body. Okay, the more physical the event, so physical abuse, sexual abuse, the more it's ingrained in the physical body and programmed deeply, and stronger the alternate personalities or masks that the child develops as a result of the traumatic experience. Okay, so the child has many parts. If the child experiences a lot of trauma, they have many parts of themselves that are compartmentalized separately into different masks. And so you can imagine that by the time, and all of this happening by the age of 7 creates profound, deep subconscious programming that the child carries on into every part of their life. Okay, so what happens essentially is that this fractalization creates a disassociation with their true self, with their core essence. And that core essence part of them, that little inner child, that innocence, the gap becomes larger and larger and larger. And the human, essentially, they don't want to be in their body. The majority of the time, they're up here. They don't even want to enter the body. Sometimes they'll come in here, maybe down to here, but never will it reach the bottom. So the embodiment of the true self and the ability to alchemize yourself into a highest vibrational frequency requires you to anchor your life force all the way down through your entire organism. Okay, so if you're only up here, you're disconnected. If you're only down here, you're disconnected. The true alchemization is to be able to bring source down to the lowest shadow aspects of yourself. Okay, to do shadow work. The shadow work is the part of looking at these shadow aspects of ourselves that have been suppressed and fractalized. How do we integrate them is that we bridge the gap that happened between our true self and the self that experienced the trauma. Clearly, as you can see, you are not your trauma. Your trauma, which exists in a timeline of the past, has been memorized inside of the physical body as a memory, but only due to the disassociation, due to the disconnect. How do we alchemize trauma is by bringing integration of these emotional states as a whole, recognizing your core emotions in that moment of trauma and recognizing the external emotions and intentions in that moment, and being able to accept both, which is essentially the hardest part for the human, is to accept that kind of polarity, to accept the paradox of, for example, the pursuit of love in a twisted, inverted way, in a harmful way. But being able to understand that allows the maturing of the human to transcend the limitation of these traumas inside of their body. And energetically, you broaden your range of frequency, okay? So what happens is when this human allows themselves to feel fully the emotions that they felt and tune into the emotions of the aggressor, we begin to understand the reflection. And what normally will happen is that this child will take on the impacting emotions that the other aggressor was imposing on the child. Okay. So, for example, they will repeat the abuse to another person in their adult, whether it's physical abuse, verbal abuse, sexual abuse. They will repeat it because that's where the emotional development was stalled for them. That's where their core essence left their body, in essence. And what was left behind is the physical body completely paralyzed in the feeling sensation, the parasympathetic system overridden with that biochemical emotion overriding the system, that begins to cause all kinds of problems, illnesses in the body, the suppression of the immune system. You know, kids develop all kinds of immune diseases essentially by the time they reach adulthood as a result of the trauma and the disassociation from their body. The more we're disconnected from our emotions, the more we are creating an imbalance inside the hormonal, biochemical, and emotional bodies. So to alchemize this, we have to truly come back into the body. Okay, and just to be clear, these scribbles over here of the red and the orange are the aggressor. Okay, so ignore the background of the chakras and for a moment. Sorry, just so it's not so confusing. What I want you to notice is that the human has many layers of their body, right? And so the field is picking up this information. Okay, so the aggressor being the other, essentially is causing these emotions onto this individual here, into this child here. Okay, so the interesting thing about it is that the aggressor is already operating at this formula. Okay, the aggressor is already having an enlarged root and sacral. The aggressor begins to create this memory inside of the physical body the same as the aggressor. And the child will take on the pattern of energy that the aggressor is taking in the chakras. So the chakras of the abused child will begin to match, and they will develop into the matching of the aggressor, because trauma is in a sense, emotionally and psychologically, it can be very formulaic, in that essentially we are repeating patterns of fear. We are displaying patterns of fear and the disconnect of ourselves and our higher self. We are repeating that gap, and that's what we pass on through generational trauma. Okay, so in the DNA, epigenetically, this formula of the enlarged root and sacral chakra, as a result of that trauma, passes down the generations. This is what epigenetically gets encoded into the DNA. And I mean, it's the same thing in this trauma, or the same thing if this gentleman was in a war. Okay, he's in the war. All of the things that they experienced in the war get programmed emotionally. How are they emotionally programmed? Through the emotional body, psychologically, through the thought forms that are created in the belief systems. Emotionally, the chakra body stores these in the expansion and contraction or the movement of the chakra. The chakra can be so traumatized that it becomes stagnant and doesn't move at all, or it could be super overactive. All of these patterns are held within the multidimensional body, which are recorded in our holographic DNA, and they are passed down the generations. Every single generation is prone to repeating the same programs. However, every new generation that is born is equipped with a broader spectrum of potential integration. Why? Because of the nature of this human universe being a spiral-like system of evolution. Okay, so this gentleman, even though they're holding the vibrational frequency, they are oscillating at 1 octave. The child will be oscillating at a higher octave than the parent. Every new generation is oscillating at a higher octave. So essentially, the child begins to embody this mirror, and the fractalization of the soul is that it creates memory inside of the energetic field. The energetic field essentially is what guides the perceptions. So now the child has a very strong perception of being unsafe in the world. They are unsafe. Everything is unsafe. Harm will be done to me, and I have belief systems that I am unworthy because I'm unworthy of love because of the way I felt as a result of the abuse, or whatever program is developed at that moment is essentially, expanded in the child. So the soul becomes fractalized because every time a traumatic event occurs that results in the patterning of these chakra systems, it becomes a blockage in the field. Okay, let's clear this up. Okay, so bring this guy back over here into the chakra body so you guys can get clear here. All of the chakras in the body, we have the orange, we have the root. Okay, so the gentleman has, this gentleman has all of these chakra bodies are here in the body. As a result of the trauma, he closes his heart chakra. As a result of the trauma, he cannot speak his truth because nobody wants to hear. So the enlarged chakras become the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, feelings of profound disembodiment. Okay, their connection to their source becomes very frail, very thin, very disconnected. You can guarantee that this individual with this chakra system is developing some sort of imbalance in the body, autoimmune disease, cancers, deep emotional traumas, PTSDs. Okay, so here, this blue circle here is going to be our thought form of unworthiness that is created by this. And this little red dot is going to be the program of inability to be loved by anyone in a safe way. So what happens is that this combination of these blockages that are constantly reinforced, these blockages are held by the membrane of the morphogenetic field. Okay, imagine these rings around the body, these spheres around the body, they are the morphogenetic field. Each one of these other little floating dots that are not the chakra bodies are essentially thought forms that solidified, crystallized within the membrane of the morphogenetic field. They organize themselves based on vibrational frequency. So let's say that this blue blockage, this thought form is connected to the throat chakra of this gentleman. It's blue. And when we're doing healing sessions, we see blue blockages in the body, right? As a psychic, this is what I can see in the body. So this blue blockage essentially is a crystallized thought form that is stagnant inside the membrane of the morphogenetic field, which becomes a point of reference. This is a neural pathway. in the same way that the membrane sustains crystallization of thought form, a neural pathway in the brain becomes repeated over and over and over again. Okay? Just for an added visual, let's remind ourselves what a neural pathway looks like. Give me a second here. Okay, hold on a second. Let me open this for you guys. This is what the neural pathway looks like when, oh God, Dancing Girl really wants to come on. Hold on a second. Okay, so remember what a neural pathway looks like. Okay, let me see if I can make this happen. Here you go. Okay, the neural pathway, see how it's reaching out? See how it's reaching out to access the next thought form? Each one of those little neural pathways are reinforced. Every time that you repeat an emotional program over and over again, an electrical charge runs through these little, where's my thing? An electrical charge runs through these little neurons, a bioelectrical charge. The bioelectrical charge that runs through that is reinforcing over and over again. Each one of these are holding a certain vibrational frequency. Neural pathways are vibrational frequency membranes. Okay, so every time this neural pathway has a vibrational frequency which holds, it's encoded several different thought forms that are in the vicinity that are related to each other. And so they connect with another neural pathway in the same way that you see this connection happen inside your neurons. The same thing is happening in the membrane of your morphogenetic field. When you sustain a program, an emotional program inside of your body for a lot, repeated and repeated over and over again. Okay, so what happens with this crystallized system is that we have like little veins, like little pathways of energy that are deeply connecting, and they connect, hold on, they connect from several of your chakras that are resonating with this vibrational frequency, as well as your organs inside your body. Okay, all connecting to this thought form that becomes crystallized. They are all matching and oscillating at the same vibrational frequency. Why is it hard to transmute trauma? Is because this is how complex it is inside the body. We literally have to transmute the core root of this belief system. That's why when we sit in meditation, in order to go through these emotions, we need to be able to hold space for those emotions. And sometimes we have to sit there for a while, feeling the emotion, because what happens biochemically is that we are addicted. So the trauma happened, all the emotional programming that occurred as a result of this trauma in the red chakra, orange chakra, yellow chakra, root, sacral, solar. Remember that these are endocrine glands. The endocrine glands are secreting chemicals in the body, and you are addicted to the chemicals, the adrenaline, to the chemicals that are being created in that moment. And we literally repeat those over and over again. So When we think about the soul trying to enter and irrigate the body with infinite life force, notice how it becomes so blocked with all of these things. This is a centrifugal vortex movement. How can your system move if we have such severe blocks in our field, right? So imagine this is one trauma, one thought form. So, you might have many thought forms in your body that you are repeating over and over again, that you are reinforcing every day. This human is existing in a constant state of survival because those are the systems of perception that have been most pronounced in their field. So the survival mechanism that's repeating over and over and over again in the body, it's memorized. And to break that, we have to first become aware of what it is that we are repeating. This is why meditation is the absolute key to the work that we're doing. This is why the present moment is the alchemization of these subconscious belief systems that we haven't broken. Okay? So as you begin to alchemize this emotion and repeat less and less these programs, you clear these cords. And in fact, every day we should be aware of what we are repeating. Every day we should be aware of what we're repeating. Little by little, as you alchemize this thought form, it becomes smaller and smaller, it begins to shrink, eventually disappear. When we break karmic contracts, here's the other part of it. This thought form has a karmic contract tied to it. We have an agreement with the aggressor. So the person that caused us this suffering, we have an agreement with them, a soul contract to experience that agreement. We were matched by vibrational frequency before we were even incarnated in this. At the soul level, we are matched by vibrational frequency in order to share. And there's a long line of history between these two fractals of soul. Okay? There's a long line of history. This is why trauma is repeated in family over and over again until somebody breaks the pattern, the emotional pattern, the aggressor pattern, and elevates into this higher octave of existence and co-creation. So when we begin to break contracts, this is why we do the work of breaking karmic contracts every single day in order to begin to dissolve this work. Energy healing and energy medicine is the future. This is energy medicine. You are healing your body through the working with your emotional system. So as you begin to shift these programs from these emotions, what happens is that you begin to cultivate another level of frequency range. We shrink our root, our sacral, our solar, because we don't want our perception to be from all the traumas that we have yet to resolve. We shrink them because we want to control these systems in our body. Okay, you are a master of your physical body. You are a creator, which means that we have to be okay with control, with creative control. We have to accept our creative control. We expand the heart chakra, coherence, so that we can tap into a higher octave of an emotion. Okay, we expand our third eye in order to be able to see. Okay, so from these enlarged chakras, we are coming more back to that innocent childlike state of observation, of non-judgmental observation, before we applied meaning to our experiences based on what we've learned and we've observed from the experiences outside of us. So essentially, our perception begins to change and we can open up, most importantly, our soul access, our source cord. We open up the channel of source through our physical body. Okay? So this is the whole point of doing this work. And another thing that happens every time that you expand and contract the chakras, you're changing the flow of life force through your body. Each one of these chakras in the body is participating in the creation of the flow of life force. So when we shrink the root chakra, we're not in survival programming anymore. We begin to develop our lower foundation, the lower dantian of our energetic body. When we expand the heart and we come from the heart chakra, we begin to expand our higher faculties. So what happens is that the human literally begins to activate the Merkaba. Okay, so this is what happens when we begin to balance out the alchemization of the soul in the physical body, soul experience. We begin to activate a higher spin rate because now we are processing at a higher octave. Okay, so all of the movement in our body essentially is allowing us to oscillate at a higher frequency. Okay. So we can literally begin to move higher bands of frequency, access our higher self, our higher wisdom. What did you do here is you alchemized into a higher state of creation. This is what you did. You alchemized into a higher state of creation. You are moving at a centripetal state. You redirected your attention from the external attachment to your past, to your trauma, to your stories of yourself or the future potential fears, and you bring them into the center of yourself. This is the center of creation, you, where the implosion occurs. You integrating the lower, the upper, and the middle dantian to be able to allow this spiritual energy, spiritual life force, this infinite potential to move through your body. You are shifting from separation, right, into creation. Rising your frequency means shifting your perception from the inside out. That is the actual alchemy. That is the whole purpose of this alchemical work that we're doing. And what happens as a result is that you begin to activate DNA. The memory that's suppressed within your field, within the morphogenetic field. What's in your morphogenetic field? Everything about your archetypes. This is, we are fractalized, okay? So we are fractal beings. We are fractalized in many dimensions. And when you begin to reintegrate the fractalizations of your early life, you begin to access the fractalizations of your past life. You begin to activate the memory of your fractals of your future selves, which allows you to access higher bands of frequency that can heal not only your body, but the planet Earth. Because we shift the planet Earth into a higher timeline of co-creation. Okay, so we alchemize trauma. Remember that your DNA is only managing this little tiny physical vessel for the physical. You have all of this of memory and information available to you. Wisdom, information that you have access to. Okay. So I'm going to stop right there. I hope that that was helpful, guys, talking about the fractalization of the soul. I'm going to jump into the chat, see if there's any questions that I can answer for you. Just go ahead and put them in capital letters so that I can see them and I can answer them really easily. If you guys have any questions. So great to see you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Welcome, almost time. Welcome, Dre. So great to see you. Jenna, so great to see you. Jimit, wonderful to see you guys. Sophie, welcome. Marilena, thank you extremely so much, Geraldine. You've been very helpful again with helping the PTSD I've experienced. I'm so happy to hear that. Maybe why so much I want to say or plan to say loving words to others. When I see them, I'll say or act mean instead. I guess I just get triggered so easily by others' negative energy. Yeah, so I would first work on taking yourself aside and doing your own internal work first to begin to look at insecurities, doubts, and our defense mechanisms that we might be having. Because I want to remind you that everyone is a projection of your core belief systems about yourself. So the triggers are indicating parts of us that we want to look at and we want to work on. And these are wonderful invitations. So tonight, at the end of your day, when you begin to review the people that you wanted to have good intentions with, ask yourself what was triggered within you, what fear we might be projecting, our own fear, our own insecurity. We might even be projecting our um, imaginations of what potentially could happen, and we set the tone for the event that's going to happen, right? We might set the tone for arguments to break out or disagreements to break out, when originally everyone had a good intention. So it's funny because we're all kind of driven by our unconscious states. That means all of us are sleeping. If there was one conscious person in the group that would take a moment to pause and create in that moment instead of repeat fears, repeat known reactions, known expectations, especially in family and friends or colleagues that we see every day and we're developing these strong bonds and relationships with, um, within the morphogenetic field, we've already created that bond and that interaction, that energetic cord that's programmed emotionally, right? So every time we go back into the relationship and not having done any internal work emotionally or shadow work, we just come right back in there and we pick up where we left off. So we trigger again those emotions over and over. Okay. So the invitation is really to kind of observe what is this unconscious repetition that keeps happening every time we come into contact with each other. And the invitation is to alchemize that work in your internal self. Feel that trigger in your body. Take a look at what's the opposite of that. What does that look like? Are you familiar with that way of being? Or is that totally foreign to you, even? I mean, saying nice words, what does that mean? How is that expressed? Is that your genuine expression? What you'll find is that coming into your authenticity is going to be the most healing, because your authenticity is what's going to allow you to embody true love, true compassion, and it'll help you see others exactly where they are and meet them where they are, as opposed of imposing our ideas or on concepts. And that imposition can be well intentioned, but in reality we're not present. We're not present with that, what's actually being invited in that moment. So completely in the present moment, completely come into your pure authenticity and act from there, and then create from there and see what happens. Okay. Ellen, welcome. Pano, welcome. Love, love, love. Meditation is like taking your car to the car wash on a daily basis, purifying your multidimensional body so that you can be authentic self, not navigating this life with super accurate GPS intuition. Yeah. And it's also a creative process, and we have to get to know the unknown. We have to become friends with the unknown. Okay. So we have to surrender. It's this kind of, funny feeling where it's like, these are opposite states, but we need to cohere them. Okay. And so being able to hold space for any potential experience that might be happening, allows you to exist in flow in these natural states of co-creation. So that's super important. I am Powerful Light. Welcome. So great to see you. Why are you starting your when are you starting your Light Academy program? I'm not sure yet. We'll let you know for sure about that one. But we are definitely going to be focusing more on children. This weekend we had our first child meditation group. It was fantastic. And I'm really excited about that. It's going to be every Sundays from 12 to 1. If you have children that want to learn how to do this shadow work early in a very fun, way that was engaging for them, definitely connect on my website. It's called Cosmic Child. That I have a new program and system for that I will publish hopefully by the end of this month, for you guys, but you can register on my website for that one. V, why is it so hard to see the karmic contract room? I have to imagine a brand new room for them. This has happened before as well. Yeah, so make the karmic room pretty simple. Notice what's changing in the room. Is it getting bigger? Is it getting smaller? What's happening there? Because we're rewriting contracts all the time. But, you know, we have some pretty deep core programs that are definitely there. So try to make it as simple as possible. You can imagine a giant stadium with all these contracts. And I will say that as we are going into a higher octave collectively, our karmic rooms are expanding because it's being revealed multidimensional aspects of ourselves. And our dream state will be more vivid. Something about Pluto going into Aquarius in the Aquarian era means that everything in the occult, everything in the hidden is being revealed. Everything that has not been seen before will be seen, right? Paranormal things, visions, ET appearances, interactions with interdimensionals, all of this is more people are going to be having those experiences because the veil is thinning collectively. So we are going to see more contracts in that room because we are evolving, we are upgrading, we are graduating into a higher octave of existence, which is quite multidimensional. So we need to anchor and learn these basic things that we know. They are what will guide you forever. That will not change. Your basic way of holding space is something that will lead you into the future for higher development. So when you see your room, I would suggest having you know, make one space that is your karmic contract room and use that room every time. Okay, look at the room, see all the contracts there. So pay attention. Sometimes there's hidden trap doors, sometimes there's closets, sometimes there's extra rooms in the back. Pay attention. The more you deprogram from yourself, the more you will reveal in there until you get to the point where that room completely dissolves. And I've experienced that when I alchemized all of these childhood traumas, I entered the 0 point. I can no longer access the karmic room. It was empty and it was just dissolving immediately every time. Okay, and then you begin to fall back asleep. You're going to recover contracts, you're going to recover karma again. The lower in frequency you go, the more close to your genetic ancestral karmic lineage you come back to, right? So you're just repeating that, and it's in the Akashic records that you're repeating and revealing those programs again. Am I the powerful light of love? I am the powerful light of love, JR. I have achieved these states and had many sudden awakenings through doing the same basic process that you're sharing. Excellent. Keep going. Amazing. Geraldine Orozco, I suggested to a YouTube content creator to interview you. Andy Decodes out of UK. He said he would reach you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited. That's so wonderful. Thank you, Grandizer. Love you. Thank you for your support. I am the powerful light of love. I have found that I have dropped vibe for the past 2 years. I find myself feeling a little lost, finding the next steps to go deeper and connecting with my purpose. Prior, I experienced full body bliss for a year. Yes, a lot of people are experiencing this. Please do not feel overwhelmed or alone. It's because, again, I think I explained this a couple months ago, but not a couple months ago, a couple of days ago. Oh, coincidentally, it's open right here. So let me show you. It was for my 11/11 portal class. So we were here a couple years ago. Okay, now we're here. Okay, we were there. Now we're here. So we are literally at the pinnacle apex point of transformation into a higher octave. So things are speeding up, and all of the lower frequency things and densities that you're holding in your body are going to become heavier. That's what we've been telling you. And astrology has been telling you the same thing, that if you haven't been doing your shadow work, things are going to get tough because all of the shadows that you're holding within the field become heavier because it can't go into the next dimension. And we're not going into a new dimension. Let me make sure I'm clear about that. I am not the kind of person that teaches about 4D, 5D. I'm putting it here as an example because so many people abide by that. In my opinion, we are constantly moving in and out of multiple dimensions. We're going into a higher octave. We couldn't even begin to calculate the kind of octave we're coming into because multidimensionally, many things are moving into a higher octave. Okay. So what does happen, and what is a general rule in the process of moving into a higher octave, is that the timelines that are available to us are purely dependent on energy. We are moving into a world of pure energy focus, and your multidimensionality and the way you hold your space, the way you hold your emotional energy in your body is everything, because it is the point of your creation. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. And as we enter into the Aquarian era, this is the Aquarian era, period 9, and a lot of things are changing. Pluto is going into Aquarius, and that means major transformations for the world. Okay, so that Plutonian energy that is completely shifting us into a humanitarian race of no BS, no hiding in the shadows, pure authenticity in order to have pure creation that is compassionate and connected to the whole. Okay, we are needing to come into this unified consciousness. And so that is what's happening. So if you're feeling heaviness, the more we need to push through that and force ourselves to sit down to look at the shadows. And trust me when I say that at the end of that meditation, you will feel realigned again. You will have revealed to yourself what is holding you back. And I know it's going to feel like you're swimming through mud, right? Swimming through mud, like barely moving through. But please do, because as we enter into this new era, into this new year, to 2025, we're going to need that spiritual and emotional agility. We're going to need the cultivation of the 0 point more, which is why I started teaching about this, 10 years ago. Working with the 0 point, the cultivation of the 0 point is the key to the future embodiment of this new humanity. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so let me go to the next question. Almost 24/7, and the request even from saying the work bliss in my head. Now it is very faint, however not gone. I do know what the cause for my drop in vibe is. Okay, excellent. So that's half the battle. The fact that you're aware of what it is, perfect. Sit with that one and transmute it. Okay, work with that little seed of doubt, of fear that you have within you, because they will magnify into your life. And the thing is this, it will magnify into the collective timeline. Okay, so if you guys are worried about our future or anything about the collective timeline, understand that you want to fix that. It's in your shadow work. Your shadow work will reflect into the collective timelines. Whoever is in office, whatever wars are going on, they will reflect the work that you do internally. So this is how we change the world internally. Okay. Yes, that's what I try, but sometimes I will be in a new room. The stadium is much easier than the original assigned room. Excellent. Yeah, make it big, use your imagination. Don't be afraid to be creative, because this is your pure creation. And actually, the more creative you are, the more you're going into your intuition, okay? Because your intuition will guide you, and your intuition is working outside of perceived ideas and structures from the external physical world. Okay, so I'm trying to listen, but my partner's making noise and I will listen later. It's annoying. Okay, Lena, hope that works out. All right, let's see. If I am aware of my shadow, I find it's more my choices that are reflecting now, not heaviness, definitely out of alignment. I actually feel weight free and less light most of every moment. Well, your choices are your energetic body. So even though physically you might be feeling light, how you make your choices will create your collective frequency, your signature frequency, okay? And so it's good that you're picking up this lightness. That's really wonderful. But how we make the choices in the shadow and how we're repeating it, that's kind of what we want to address. We want to address those patterns of choice making, patterns of emotional blockages that we might be holding. So that is the invitation. I have almost completely liberated from fear. My struggle is to be compassionate and stay versus leave and do myself alone. Right. So all of that is rooted in fear, those limitations of, you know, choice and the application of free will. So here's the thing, we don't want to separate ourselves from fear. We are fear, we are pure love. We have to integrate those into the parts of us and learn all the plethora of expressions of fear that we might encounter as a human. That's the whole point of human experiences, that we allow ourselves to experience the full self. Okay. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It was a pleasure to be here with you. I hope you guys have an incredible day. And I will be on the Spanish channel next, I believe tomorrow, to do the Spanish version. So definitely check me out there if you're a Spanish speaker and want to access the information there. Oh, also, I wanted to let you know that I will be bringing back my G-Pack bracelets and jewelry for the holiday season in case anybody is interested. It's just a fun reminder and a fun way to remember your grounding, your alignment, and your co-creation. They're 18 karat gold. They're really high quality. I mean, I wash dishes, I do everything, clean my house with this on. And I'm super allergic to fake metals and copper. So I really like to use gold and, sterling silver. So this does not give me an allergic reaction. So anyway, if you guys want that, it says G-Pack on it, and it comes with my G-Pack instruction book. Okay. So I have many different designs. That shop will be open right after Thanksgiving. So that's at the end of this month. What date is that? Oh, yeah. So next Thursday, the store for that will be up on the website. I think jewelry is awesome. It's a great little gift, but I think the book is also super important because it really helps you embody the practice of G-Pack. And it's a great little reminder of the meditation. Okay. So thank you so much. I love you and have an amazing day. Bye. Thank you for your super chats, guys.